So in this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to delete a bunch of clutter, magnets, things like that on a refrigerator. Now you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you just take them off when you were at the shoot? And actually, this refrigerator was so full of magnets that it didn't even really cross my mind, and it was an afterthought. So the realtor had contacted me and said, hey, is there any way you can delete those magnets off the fridge? And my first thought was, there's going to be no way to do that. I'm going to have to go back and reshoot this. And so I just thought, you know what? I said, but I will try it and see what I can do. And it actually turned out to be way faster and simpler than I thought it would be. And it was actually faster to do it in post than it would have been to do it on site. So let me take you into Lightroom first and then Photoshop, and I'll show you how I did this. All right, so here's our ambient shot, and you can see this refrigerator is just plastered with magnets. But there actually is a quick and simple solution to this. Let's take our flash shot, which I believe it was this one, and I'm just going to Command E to bring it back into Photoshop. So once it's back into Photoshop, I like to do Command J to duplicate the layer. That way, if for any reason we get too far ahead of ourselves and we make a big mistake, we can just junk that layer and we don't have to physically, start over. So let's zoom in. I'm going to Command and then plus sign to zoom in here. And so my first initial decision was, okay, I'm going to use the patch tool and start circling each one of these, moving them to a clean spot on the fridge like this to make room for, and then I could do even bigger selections to move it to a clean spot that I was creating. Well, I'm thinking, well, geez, at this point, it really would be faster to drive back to this house, take all the magnets off, and reshoot it. Then I got to thinking, well, why can't I just sample a piece or a color of this refrigerator and just paint it back in? So that's what we're going to do. Check this out. So we're going to take our pen tool, and we'll start up here with the top door, and we're going to make our selection all the way around the fridge, the white part of the fridge, coming down here, literally just making a selection on the face of this. Let's see, we gotta... And then once you get your selection, we're going to right-click, make selection, and by default it's feathered at 1 pixel. That's good enough, just leave that, and hit OK. Now what we need to do is we need to take our color picker tool, this little eyedropper right here, click on that, and then click anywhere in a clean spot on that fridge. Click on it, it's going to sample that color for you. I like that. And now we're going to take our brush tool, and now I'm going to bump my flow up to about 60% and just start brushing that in. Now, because we created a selection, it's going to stay within that pen tool mark. So look at that. That looks pretty good. So now let's go back to our pen tool, and we are going to make the selection for this part of the fridge, outlining that handle. You don't have to be perfect, but getting it as clean as possible is going to help. And see that shadow right here? I'm going to leave that as detail. That'll help make it so it doesn't look super fake. But in reality, this one, because it was white, it didn't pose a ton of glare. So we were able to make this look almost better than if we would have just taken all the magnets off. Again, right-click, make selection, hit OK. And let's take our brush, because we already have that color selected. We can just keep that same color and paint over those magnets. So like I said, you can see how this is a lot faster than driving to location. Or it was even faster to do this in post. Now, will this work in every single situation? Probably not, because, you get some of those stainless steel or even black that has reflections. That would get a lot more complicated, but this situation worked. And again, you just have to trial and error it and see what works. Now, what we need to do is we need to make another selection around the emblem of the fridge. So I'm going to take my pen tool. Let's drop the opacity here so we can see it. Zoom in here. And I'm just going to do a selection here and get that shadow of that emblem. And then close it off and click make selection. Hit OK. And now we're going to do a layer mask, and then Command I to invert it. And now we can bring that opacity back up to 100%, and then we can back it off, and there we go. Now, for this one, see how we have a bunch of reflections? Here is where I would probably just take the patch tool, zoom in again, make a selection around it, and then move it to a clean spot on the fridge. Do this with both of these, like that, and you can drag it and try to line up so the reflections match a little bit. And same with this one. We want to keep that reflection, so we want to pull it this way. And then you're going to have some overlap if you push it too far. Just delete that. We can actually eliminate this little dent out of the fridge if we wanted to. And now Command minus to bring it back out. And look at that. You really cannot tell. We toggle that on and off. That's pretty amazing to me. So leave me a comment if you have any questions on this. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm releasing tutorials all the time. So we'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.